edition of the Pigskin Preview. Alongside the head coach of the Western Illinois football team, Bob Nielsen, I'm Andrew Bacon. Coach, thanks for joining us again.
My pleasure.
If you haven't noticed, we are not on Hanson Field. We are in Studio A of Salee Hall. And so if you ever get some time, you should come check it out. We got a lot of new studios this year, so let's go ahead and get down to business now. This past weekend, the Leathernecks traveled up to Minnesota to take on the Golden Gophers. After a little bit of a traffic delay, the team would get to Minneapolis. Coach Nielsen previously, though, was the head coach at Minnesota Duluth. And so for you, Coach, what was it like returning for your first away game to Minnesota?
Well, it was an interesting experience. First of all, the opportunity to play at TCF Bank Stadium, great facility in front of, I guess a crowd that you would classify at least as hostile. And I thought, our team responded very well. We went in with a good game plan, a plan that we had to execute through the course of the first half. Controlled the game in a way that allowed us to be in a position to win. And then obviously as the game went on, Minnesota made some plays that separated the game score-wise, but certainly was very proud of our guys' effort.
And then as you just talked about, the Leathernecks had quite the performance for your return to Minnesota. Unfortunately, though, Western Illinois' efforts would fall short as the team fell to the Golden Gophers by a score of 29-12. And so let's go ahead and toss it out to Nico Hefslinger for the first half highlights.
Philip Nelson just outside the 20, going to hand this off to Roderick Williams Jr., brought down back at the line of scrimmage by Jonathan Rollins. Second down, Nelson throwing out to his left. KJ May going to be brought down back at the line of scrimmage by Kevin Kinsel. Nelson dropping back to pass. Kinsel in the backfield for a sack. Andrew Hart punting this one to Antoine Ford, fielding it at the 20. He's got some room up the middle. He's going to break a tackle in a spin move inside, crossing midfield. Watson in the backfield. He's going to take the handoff and got no room up the right side. Going to power his way back to the line of scrimmage. Watson in the backfield again. This time another handoff, and he's got a little bit of room up the middle, but a nice tackle tripping him up by the feet for a gain of 7. Norval dropping back, looks to his left, and that pass is complete to Lance Lenore for a first down. Norval once again on first down. This time he's got Fredson Solomon for a nice pickup. J.C. Baker now checking in the game. He's going to take the handoff. He's got room up the middle, and a big gain for J.C. Baker. J.C. Baker once again up the middle, and he's going to cut this to the left side and break a tackle and get all the way down to the 1-yard line. Fourth down for the Leathernecks. Play action pass. Mason Howington in the back of the end zone. Touchdown Leathernecks. Leathernecks lining up for 2. Direct snap to Kevin Kinsel. He's going to be brought down at the 1-yard line. Western Illinois leads 6-0. Mitch Leidner in at quarterback. He's going to hand this off to Williams Jr., who's going to be brought down by J.J. Raffleson. Leidner going to keep this one, get up the middle for a big gain, brought down once again by J.J. Leidner, play action pass. He's going to throw this one out to Max Williams for a big completion, breaking a tackle, almost getting to the 20-yard line. Leidner, play action pass, brought down in the backfield by David McDaniel. Another keeper for Leidner. He's got room up the right side, a big gain, brought down by Jonathan Rollins. Leidner in the shotgun. Another keeper. He's going to be brought down at the 2-yard line by Davon Butler. Wishbone formation for the Gophers. Handoff to Williams Jr., who's going to go up the middle for a touchdown. A tie game pending the extra point.
After the first half of the game, Coach, the Leathernecks were down just 7-6. The defense was dominant throughout, and the offense was able to capitalize at the end of the first quarter to score first. What were your thoughts on how the first half went?
Well, we played the way we needed to play. We were able to control the football a little bit, keep the ball out of the Gophers' hands, and defensively took away the running game in a way that they found it hard to be consistent offensively. And we had felt that if we could do those two things, we knew we had a chance to be in it at the end. And so the first half went according to plan.
All right, well, we're gonna take a break, but stay tuned, as up next we'll have the second half. You're watching the Pigskin Preview.
Maybe he's really focused.
Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
You always made sure I brushed my teeth.
You told me that smart was cool.
You always told me to dream big.
To all of those parents who took the time to make raising their children their most important job, we'd like to say,
thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, thanks, Mom and Dad.
This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning, 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash, 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Welcome back to the Pigskin Preview. Coach, being down just 7-6 at the half, what did you tell the team?
Oh, really not a lot. Our team had great confidence coming off the field at halftime. We reiterated the things that we had to do in the second half to win the football game, and made a couple of minimal adjustments offensively and defensively. And so really wasn't a lot to be said, and I think, the third quarter our guys came out and continued to execute.
All right, well, let's go ahead and check out the second half.
Starting on the 20-yard line, Norville dropping back to pass. He's going to complete this to Kyle Hammonds. He's breaking away. Got one man to beat, and he is inside the 20 and brought down at the 15-yard line. Norville dropping back, and this time sees no receivers. He's going to keep it and pick up a gain of about 2 yards. Third down, Norville in the shotgun, looking to the right, roll out, and throws this one up, and that pass is completed to Lance Lenore. Touchdown, Leathernecks. Up and lining up for the extra point, and that is going to be blocked. No good. New running back in the backfield, David Cobb. He's going to get the handoff, and he's going to break it up the right side. A big gain, pushed out of bounds by Jonathan Rowland. Play action pass, Leidner holding on to it. A lot of pressure in the backfield from the Leathernecks. He's going to be brought down. Leidner dropping back, looking to his left. That's almost picked off by Kevin Kinsel. Third down, Leidner dropping back, and he's going to complete this pass to Derek Engel. Leidner keeping this one, but he's going to be brought down just past the line of scrimmage by David McDaniel. Leidner on another keeper, getting a little room, and this ball's going to pop into the air, caught by Kevin Kinsel. He's going to take off, but get brought down at the 2-yard line. Leidner rolling out to the right side. This pass completed to Derek Engel, shoved out of bounds by Martinez Davis. Man in motion. Leidner dropping back, and he's going to roll out to the right side and keep it, but a short gain brought down by Jonathan Rowlands. Hand off to Cobb. He's got a lot of space on the left side. Touchdown, Minnesota. They are back in the lead, 13-12. 2-point conversion attempt. Tight end in motion. Leidner, he's going to roll out to the left side, and he's got a man wide open, Logan Hutton, for the 2-point conversion. Leidner, a lot of time in the pocket, throwing this one up, and a great catch made by Max Williams. Kevin Kinsel right there in coverage. Handoff to Williams Jr., met by a bunch of Leathernecks. Looked like Davon Butler was the first one there, no gain. Leiner dropping back. He's going to roll out to the right side and take off, and he's going to be shoved out of bounds by Kevin Kinsel, just short of a first down. Leiner on another keeper, this time brought down inside the 5-yard line. The Gophers continuing to drive. Hand off to Cobb, and once again up the left side, another touchdown for Derek Cobb. Hand off to Williams Jr. He's got a lot of space up the right side, being chased down by Jonathan Rollins, but eluding the tackle and in for the touchdown.
As we saw in the fourth quarter, the Gophers were able to run for 2 touchdowns and seal the game away. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats now. As we see, Trenton Norville finished 11 of 23 for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lance Lenore had 5 receptions for 54 yards and 1 of the receiving touchdowns. And then Kevin Kinsel with a big game on defense, 8 tackles, a sack, a fumble recovery, and 2 pass breakups, both almost interceptions. And then for Minnesota, Mitch Leidner, 7 of 8 for just over 100 yards. And then David Cobb had 2 of Minnesota's touchdowns. Coach, obviously not the outcome that you wanted. However, what can you take away from this game with facing another FBS opponent next weekend?
Well, hopefully the confidence that we can play against anybody in the country and play competitively against anybody in the country. Honestly, the difference in the game was our inability to move the ball in the fourth quarter. We struggled against the run all day, or against their rush defense all day, and we needed to make some more plays on the perimeter to generate a couple more scoring opportunities. We knew 12 points wasn't going to win the football game, and it was only a matter of time, if you keep giving the ball back to Minnesota, that they were going to get the ball in the end zone.
And then, Coach, throughout this whole season, the Leathernecks are one of 3 FCS teams to have yet not committed a turnover. So can you talk about how you stress the importance of making good decisions and then also holding on to the ball?
Well, with the type of football team that we are this year, it's critically important. We have to generate turnovers. At the same time, we've got to take care of the football ourselves and not give the opposing offenses additional chances. And our team's done a good job with that so far. We've got to continue to do a good job with that this week.
And switching to the defensive side of the ball, how were the Leathernecks able to contain the Gophers' rushing attack so efficiently?
Well, I think Coach Ward and Coach Henson, our whole defensive staff, had a great plan. To take away, to give them different looks, to try to disrupt their blocking scheme. Minnesota's a team that really wants to run the football, and they use the quarterback in the run game. You have to account for the quarterback in the run game. We did a good job of minimizing their long runs, with the exception of the long run that constituted their last touchdown. We did a good job of containing the running game all day.
And then one member of the defense, as I talked about on the stats, who had a major impact was Kevin Kinsel. As we saw on the box score graphic, Kinsel had 8 tackles, a sack, a couple of pass breakups, and a forced fumble. A little bit of everything, really, Coach. And then one thing that doesn't show up, though, on the stat sheet is leadership that Kevin Kinsel brings to this Leatherneck defense. And so can you talk about his performance and what he means to the team?
Yeah, well, Kevin's a really good football player and a guy that helps us in a lot of ways. He plays on every one of our special team units, in addition to having really had to play all 3 positions at linebacker this year with J.J. Raffleson's injury. And so he's a guy that we've counted on and count on to do a lot, and he's a guy that needs to continue to have a good year for us.
And then this year, Kevin Kinsel and several of the linebackers have stepped up in the absence of J.J. Raffleson. Raffleson missed the first 2 games of the year, so I caught up with Kinsel and Raffleson to discuss how the members of the defense have stepped up and what it is like to have Raffleson back on the field.
It was tough. I haven't sat out in a long time since high school, a couple games. It's tough seeing everybody play, but I'm there being a cheerleader as much as I can.
Without him there, it's a whole kind of, because he communicates a lot. He makes our checks along with me, him, Scoop, Luke. We all make checks throughout the whole thing. So getting used to it in the beginning was kind of hard because he was our most vocal person last year.
Last year, J.J. Raffleson was the team's leading tackler. However, going into the season, the Leathernecks without him for the first 2 games. One positive outcome that came from this, though, was experience. With Raffleson out, many of the other linebackers were able to gain valuable game experience, and for Kevin Kinsel, be more flexible playing at Raffleson's spot.
Brought really good experience to them. They all played last year, but the more games you play, the better you get, the more comfortable you get with the system. the more comfortable you get with the chemistry with the guys you're playing with. So I think overall that really helped them. It helps a lot because, I mean, now it's more versatile. I can play both outside linebackers. Our younger guys can play multiple positions too, and having him out just really helps us to get more diverse. And having him come back, he can still play Mike like last year, and knowing Will is his main position, just kind of whoever's gassed, whoever's tired, whoever gets hurt, we can always kind of help it out and switch it up.
For the Leathernecks, though, even without J.J. Raffleson, Kinsel and the team showed how dangerous they were on defense, and that if an injury were to occur in the future, they would be ready with the next man up.
I think they all did great. They did fabulous. Kinsel, had an interception. A lot of tackles. Luke had a lot of tackles. I think a sack. They did really well. They communicated well. They went through practice every day, doing everything right, which was really good. I think we've held our own. I think there was definitely a lot of room for improvement. It's like I said before. It's kind of like missing a hole. He's another coach on the field for us.
With J.J. Raffleson returning, the Leathernecks are glad to welcome back everything that he brings to the team on the field that was missed. And of course, J.J. was just excited to finally be playing again.
I think the one thing that I bring is I'm pretty good at communicating. I feel like I know the defense pretty well. I made my share of mistakes just like everybody else, but I feel like I'm always talking, always trying to help everybody out, keep everybody confident. He's always in the right spot at the right time, which, as you saw in Game 1, helps with turnovers. In Game 2, it's just everyone being in the fit, holding teams to less rushing yards is our #1 goal. I was so happy all week. I was in practice, smiling all the time, just enjoying life. After having 3 elbow surgeries, it takes a toll on you. But I came back out there stronger. Thought I played decent, for first game back, and I just was out there communicating and doing what I do, and I love this game. So it was a great blessing to come back.
J.J. Raffleson had a tremendous season last year as a redshirt freshman. After his performance last year, he was named a nominee for the Jerry Rice Award. In your eyes, Coach, how has he stepped up for the defense?
I think he's made, with his return Saturday, he made everybody around him better, and that's what good players should do. We were able to solidify our linebackers in what I think are their best positions. Obviously gives us more depth, having him back as well, and he brings a little bit more physical presence to that linebacker core, and so the reason we played so well, even though it was surely a team effort on defense, a lot of that had to do with J.J. being back.
And then while he was gone, how did you feel the Leathernecks performed with him gone?
Well, I think we played very well. As I said, Kevin Kinsel was relied on to play multiple positions. Devon Butler's had a great opening 3 weeks. Luke Banagoni had to fill in a substantial way during JJ's absence, and having JJ back now gives us a great deal more flexibility, utilizing those 4 and some of the other guys at that position group.
All right, we're now going to take a quick break, but stay tuned, as up next we'll have senior captain Nate Bowman stopping by for the 2-minute drill. What life-changing questions will I have for him? Either way, you can't miss it. This is the Pigskin Preview.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills 1 person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper. As a parent, you want to make sure that your child knows how to deal with bullying when they see it happening. And chances are they want to help, but they don't really know how. Teach them that the best thing to do is calmly walk away, find a teacher or other adult, and speak up. And do your part. Be that adult they can talk to and trust will listen. Join me to help stop bullying. Go to stopbullying.gov to find out more.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. Stop the texts. Stop the wrecks. Visit us at stoptextstoprex.org.
We are now joined by senior Nate Bowman, a captain and tight end for the Leathernecks. And so, Nate, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You ready for this 2-minute drill? Ready to get it started?
I'm ready.
All right, well, let's go ahead and begin the 2-minute drill. So what has been your favorite win at Western?
My favorite win was 2010 season when we were playing Coastal Carolina and we got our first playoff victory. That was a big win for me.
And then what is a game day tradition that you have before every game?
I have to have everything laid out in front of my locker an hour ahead of time just to look at everything, have everything ready.
Something most people don't know about you.
My favorite singer is John Mayer.
There you go. You know it now. What is your major?
Broadcasting and African American Studies.
So you're going to try and take over my show for me and start
Absolutely.
doing it?
Nate Bowman Show.
You hear from him, Nate Bowman Show. We got the Jimmy Show last week. Now we got the Nate Show. And then what's a dream job for you after college?
Dream job, working for an energy program, Oceans Energy.
Sounds pretty cool. If you could play any other position besides tight end or fullback, what would you play?
Quarterback.
Be in command of everything?
Yeah.
And then what are some players that you look up to now and then growing up from back then?
Growing up, I don't know, I always looked up to Allen Iverson for some reason. Not as
just as a talent-wise.
Yeah, talent-wise.
He was pretty good. He did have some off the court problems.
Yeah, not the off the court problems.
And then NFL, what's the NFL game that you're looking forward to this weekend?
Bears and Steelers.
You Bears fan there?
Yeah, huge Bears fan.
Steelers aren't looking too hot. They might get a win there.
I know. They're looking really bad.
And then give me a bold prediction for a team that makes the playoffs.
I'm going to say the Bears are definitely going to make the playoffs.
Bears?
People still doubt them, all the Packers fans. But
Packer fans, Vikings fans.
Yeah.
And then what are some Super Bowl teams that you're predicting, or what are some teams that you're predicting to make the Super Bowl?
I'm a person that hates to predict too early. I think it's too early to predict who's going to be in the Super Bowl.
But if I told you you had to do it, I was going to shove you off a cliff.
Oh, man. I'd
Bears?
have to say the Broncos and I don't know. I'm just say Bears.
We'll say Bears for
now.
We'll
say Bears.
Right. And then real quick, in their prime, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Oh, Michael Jordan, hands down.
All right, I agree with you. Air Jordan all the way. That's all the time we have for you, though. And so that's all the time we have for the 2-minute drill. I'd like to thank Nate for coming on to our show.
Thank you.
We're going to take another quick break, but stay tuned. As up next, we'll take a look at the Missouri Valley Conference thus far.
In 1977, in Johannesburg, South Africa, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. By the age of 9, he was already outplaying him. The odds of this gentle lad winning the Junior World Golf Championships at the age of 14, 1 in 16 million. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours, 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the Open Championship once and the US Open Championship twice, 1 in 780 million. The odds of this professional golfer having a child diagnosed with autism, 1 in 88. Ernie Els encourages you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life.
I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com. If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back. Here are the scores of the Missouri Valley teams from last weekend. As we talked about, Western Illinois lost to Minnesota 29-12. South Dakota State beat Southeastern Louisiana 34-26. Illinois State got dominated by Eastern Illinois 57-24. Missouri State rallied to beat Missouri State 41-38 late. Southern Illinois easily was able to win 31-10 over Charleston, West Virginia. Youngstown State got rolled over by Michigan State 55-17. Indiana State had a field day over Quincy, winning 70-7. Northern Iowa, South Dakota, and North Dakota State all had bye weeks though. Let's now look at the Missouri Valley Conference standings after 3 weeks of play. South Dakota State stands alone at 3-0, while North Dakota State and Northern Iowa are 2-0. Western Illinois and Youngstown State are both 2-1. Then one-win teams consist of South Dakota, Southern Illinois, and Indiana State. Finally, winless teams are Illinois State and Missouri State. Let's turn to this weekend's matchup for the Missouri Valley teams. As we see here, Northern Iowa plays Northern Colorado. South Dakota goes up against Northern Arizona. North Dakota State will play Delaware State. South Dakota State will travel to Nebraska. Missouri State takes on Central Arkansas. Illinois State will play Albanine Christian. Southern Illinois, in a pretty interesting event, will play Southeast Missouri State at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Indiana State and Youngstown State will have a bye week. And then, Coach, this weekend, the Leathernecks will travel to UNLV to take on the Rebels. UNLV is a Division I FBS team in the Mountain West Conference and currently have a 1-2 record after losing both to Minnesota and Arizona. Then this past weekend, they got their first win, 31-21 against Central Michigan. And so, Coach, what can you tell us about UNLV and what to watch out for?
Well, they're a very good football team. Don't be misled by their score against Minnesota. That was a highly competitive game in which a couple of defensive scores that Minnesota made separated the outcome. They're a different type of team than Minnesota, particularly offensively. They're a team that's going to try to spread the field, a team that's going to present a much more balanced offense that will be a real challenge for our defense. They're a team that has very good perimeter skill people, a couple of outstanding wide receivers, experience at quarterback. As a matter of fact, they have two quarterbacks that have played a lot, and we're not quite sure which one we might face. And then a senior running back who's one of the top running backs in program history. So very diverse, very talented offense. Defensively, they're exceptionally athletic. They will play a very aggressive style of defense. I think we're going to see a lot of man-to-man coverage, a lot of pressure type looks, which are things we didn't handle real well against Minnesota on Saturday in the second half, and things that we're going to have to be better against this Saturday.
All right, that's all the time we have for you. Thank you, Coach. The Leathernecks will play at UNLV this Saturday at 8 p.m. Central Time. That's all the time we have for you. As I said, this is the Pigskin Preview, but for Coach Bob Nielsen, I'm Andrew Bacon. Thanks for watching.